Video at. Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monday Afternoon Live with the Outdoor Crew. We got Mr. Stanley Orchard right beside me over here, and that is
what's up, guys.
Name. Beyond him is Mr. Steve Ash from Haulin Ash Outdoors. That's his channel name, and I am John with A&J Outdoors. We're missing one. We're down one tonight. Grant McIntosh, his channel name, is out. His son is in a soccer game, and he's out there supporting us up, which is cool, which we're all good with.
You know, we should have asked for updates of the game during the live stream. I'd have been curious about it. I didn't think about that.
Cool. That would have been kind of cool. We're going to have to work on stuff like that. All right. Hey, who we got in over there? We got Mr. Ash K88. How you doing, man? Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a minute. My wife is in here. She's up in Washington right now.
Ma'am?
Oldest daughter is in here, also up in Washington.
Miss Williamson.
So let's we got 7 folks watching. We got 4 thumbs up. Let's get some thumbs ups going, and let's talk about what we're going to talk about. So I think the first thing we each do is a quick, not so painful, full story recap of how awesome or not so awesome our weekends were. And I'm going to start with Mr. Stanley Orchard.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to start. This is how we're okay. So it's Monday afternoon. A part of the whole value of having a Monday afternoon stream is so that we can all sit here and vent about our weekends, and we can vent about our Mondays. We can brag about our catches, or wallow in the sorrows that was the past couple of days. If you're in a chat and you had a rough weekend, you had a rough Monday, you don't have to just sit here and listen to us talk about it. Let us know in the chat down below. How was your weekend? Did you have a good one? Did you have a bad one? Let us know all about it. Now is your time to vent. My weekend wasn't that bad. I had to work, and it was the end of spring break for Rachel and Savannah. We kind of relaxed a little bit. On Sunday, we went to the aquarium, had some fun. We were members of the aquarium over there, have been for a while. Love going over there. It's just a relaxing atmosphere. And that was our weekend. Monday was a little bit rough. It's been back and forth with meetings and school stuff and tests, and just been a busy Monday. But all in all, I've got no complaints. I had a little bit of fun yesterday going to the aquarium. I haven't done any fishing lately. I need to, but I'm not having a bad time. You gentlemen have much better stories than I have. Steve, how was your weekend?
Suck. In a word. You want me to go through this whole painful saga again? Well, here's the thing. Last weekend, I went fishing with Kevin, my friend Kevin, and as we're putting the boat up on the trailer, he says, "Steve, your bunks don't look just right." Well, we got the boat loaded up, and I put it in my mind that, I better look at them bunks later. Well, later kind of didn't really come for a while, so my son and I go fishing this weekend, and we get done, put the boat back on the trailer. I get home, and I thought, I better look at those bunks. And that's when I realized that the bottom of my boat had 2 scratches about 3 foot long. And what that was from is there's a cradle that the 2x6 rests on top of or in, and that 2x6 has got carpet on it. And so what happened, these bunks rotted and they exposed the cradle. So when my boat drove onto the trailer, it caught them 2 little cradle hangers, whatever you want to call them, and scratched my boat, the underside. Luckily, I've got an Alumacraft, which is a double thickness hull. So even though there's scratches, it didn't penetrate. It's far from penetrating. It's just unsightly looking scratches. So today I went and got some new treated 2x6. Now, some people say you shouldn't use treated, but I understand that the new treated 2x6 doesn't have the chemical reaction to aluminum that the old does. And I don't want them ever rotting out again. So that was my weekend. No fish, just a couple of nasty scratches in my boat.
It feels like I can trump that.
That says a lot.
John.
That says a lot. That's a bad weekend.
Yeah. So if you all were paying attention last weekend or last Monday when we were talking, I was going fishing Saturday with my buddy Joe Willis, that you all know, on his boat. We're going to Lake Placid, not New York, but Lake Placid here in Texas. And it's about the time of year that the crappie are spawning, and we're going to go catch all these crappie. And I'm going to, because Steven said something about how, people complain about how you fillet a fish. And I said, I'm going to cook a whole crappie. There'll be a catch and cook. So Saturday comes along, we get to the lake, and we go to where we go, right, for spawn time, and realize the water temperature is not right. Even though just south of us at Choke Canyon, they're in spawn now, it's not warm enough in this lake for them to spawn. So we struggle the rest of the day trying to find fish. Joe caught one bass. That's all the fish we caught. So now it's time, and I'm good. I'm still good because, I got on the water and got out there. So it's not a bad day yet. Yeah. So I drove my truck and met him at the lake. So Joel's taking his truck and his boat home. I'm going home. And I'm on my way home, and I'm on a little 2-lane road. And I come to an intersection where the other two directions have to stop. And an individual decided right as I'm entering the intersection not to stop, but to go. And bang, there we go. So hit my truck. Long story short, I got to get some work done on my truck. It's not bad. It's nothing major that I know of. But I know that the alignment's out of whack because her little car hit right on the front tire, tore up the front rim a little bit, and my steering wheel is off center now. Other than that, nothing too major. So,
hey, John, is your truck a Dodge Ram?
Yes, I'm glad I wasn't driving a Ford or a Chevy, or it probably would have
Well, I was just thinking the guy couldn't dodge it, so he rammed it.
Oh,
look at the timing on that. That's the bad joke police.
Yeah, they're calling you.
They got you fast.
Oh, hey, I got a question though. I see Jeff Bottom is in the chat, and they were fishing on the lake with us, and I never did ask Jeff if they caught any fish.
Jeff?
So, Jeff, please respond if you caught some fish.
And what'd you get? If you got anything, tell us how it went. Because we're all striking out down here.
I do know that he caught one bluegill, or else he's telling me a story, because I casted a Haley jig into a tree area and I got snagged, and I thought, I'm not taking my boat into that brush for a Haley jig. And so a little later on, he sends me a picture that he found it with the worm still attached to it, and he caught a bluegill.
Insult upon injury right there. Holy smokes. Not only did I find your jig that you lost, but I caught a fish with it.
Caught a fish on it.
We found the fish that you lost it on, buddy, and it wasn't the dramatic thing that you made it out to be.
Hey, Fish Mitten, how you doing?
Want to also say hello to, I see that Mosier boy is in here. Want to say hi to him.
I think he's out now. I think he took off.
Okay.
He was in and out.
So while we wait on Jeff to tell us all the fish he caught to make us look bad since we didn't catch any, I got a question for you guys and the chat, right? So we'll give them time to reply because there's a delay with your guys' reply. But if you had to narrow it down, I think this is really easy for Steve, but not maybe so easy for Stanley. But if
Bring it on.
Narrow it down to the single fish that you like to fish for or catch the most, what is that?
That's so hard.
I knew it would be. I don't think it will be for Steve, though. What is that one fish? Steve, we'll start with you.
Sailfish.
What?
Sailfish.
That's an interesting choice.
Say walleye. You're in Michigan.
Yeah. You're not on brand here.
That's a good answer.
I'm just telling you, that was the time of my life, was catching that sailfish. We caught two of them.
I'm
my high point of my entire fishing time right there.
I'm letting Stanley go next because I know I asked the question and I still don't know my answer. So go ahead.
This is a tough one for me because it's a kind of a binary question for me. I really enjoy fishing. We fish for food. You know, like putting food on the plate is that's where I get the most joy out of fishing is that experience. But if I'm fishing for a fish, the thing that I have most fun fishing for is sharks. You can eat them, but they're not the best table fare. So it's a little bit of an, kind of an oxymoron for me.
No, but that's a good answer. That's a good answer. Now, I fish saltwater and freshwater. And I think, God, I think fishing for crappie really is my favorite fish to fish for. It might not be and it is one of the better eating freshwater fish, of course.
Absolutely.
But it's not the blue marlin or the mahi-mahi that I've caught before. But it's just, that's a fun fish to fish for. And you can, if you find them, if you get on them, you can sit there and just catch.
Yes.
Which
I respect that. Yeah, that is fun when you're just back to backing them.
Yeah. And especially if you got kids involved and they're able to catch like that.
Or anybody who's never done it before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Jeff came back. He said he worked shallows all around the lake, nothing. Mark fishing 25 foot and caught a few gills, bluegills for the rest of us. They lived to see another day, so he was nice enough to release those gills. And then Fishing the Mitten said northern pike or largemouth. So
yeah.
Favorite fish. Man, those are both good. I'm not really a largemouth hunter, but northern pike, when I was up in Michigan, fun fish to catch for sure. Just as a fish on the other end of the line. So he's not committing to what fish he likes the most.
I can't argue with that.
It's hard.
I will say that's actually like a really good point because we did our first freshwater fishing up in Wisconsin last year. We were going for panfish and I caught my first pike and my first a whole lot of things. It is a different experience. But there is a whole, I did not understand just how fun that was going after, the entire experience of going after bluegills and then getting the pike and bass and everything along the way. That was a lot of fun. I had no idea it was going to be as fun as it was.
All right. So I'm going to address, Audrey said smelt. And Stanley's already like, smelt? What? So Steve knows what we're talking about. So smelt, this is up in Michigan, right? And back when I was a teenager, when I was there, we would go dip and smelt. We could do it right there, any creek coming in from the lake, and you go at night, bring buckets, and you bring nets, and you just net these things. And they're, that to that, somewhere in that range. Cut the head off, scissors down the gut, get the guts out, put them in whatever batter, fry them up, and eat them like French fries. And it's awesome. And you could fill buckets.
Oh, that sounds so good.
Awesome.
You only filled buckets, John? That's it?
Buckets, plural buckets. What the heck were you filling? Pick up.
You didn't have truck beds?
Trucks, man.
There you go. Exactly.
I got to tell this story. My brother took my dad's brand new. This is a long time ago. 1974 Chevy pickup, brand spanking new. Dad went away somewhere for the weekend, so my brother Mark takes it to go smelt with him. And he, honest to God, he pulled up alongside the creek and just dip, throw it in the back of the truck, dip, throw it in the back of the truck, dip, throw it in the back of the truck. So then where are you gonna put all those doggone smelt? So we had several stock tanks around the farm for the different cattle herds that we had. So we go to the different water tanks and we fill them. Well, we'd fill them, but we put fish in each one of them so they would live, so that we'd have time to clean them. It gets tiring cleaning that many fish. It went on for days. Mom and Dad were gone. When Mom got home, she went to church, and a bunch of the church ladies says, "Mrs. Ash, I just want to tell you that your sons are so thoughtful to bring us some fresh, clean smelt. We had to do something with them, so we were giving away to everybody in the town that we lived in." Another story about smelt.
I thought this was going an entirely different direction. Yeah. If this was my family, we'd have done the same thing. We'd have had the piles of smelt in the bed of the truck. We wouldn't have made it through them. We would have tried to give them away, but we'd have ended up going to church with a 3-day-old pile of smelt in the bed of the truck. Yeah. That's how my story would have gone. I guarantee it.
Oh, we had to clean out that truck because that was brand new. Dad would have had our hide. I don't know if we ever did tell him that we filled it full of smelt. Another story, I was on a prom date. I'm going to say it was probably my junior prom. It was my junior prom. And we were headed into town, and it was that time of year they were dipping smelt. So one of the girls, we were like double dating. One of the girls says, "Hey, let's stop and see how the smelt dipping's going." So here's two guys in a tuxedo and two girls in a full-length formal walking along the creek watching people dip smelt. That was how simple we were back then.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, the unfortunate thing is now the lower Michigan, you really can't find smelt like that anymore. I hear that they're still able to dip smelt up in the UP like that, but anywhere around Au Gres and all, you just can't find them like that anymore.
Yeah, I've heard Rachel's dad telling stories about smelt.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because people were filling up pickup beds full of them, or.
Rachel's dad was telling me when we were in Wisconsin. We go back and forth on stories, and I remember him telling me a story about how they used to do smelt. Not stories like this, but same thing where you would net smelt. And I think he was telling me something about like in Wisconsin they can't do it anymore. They have rules against it or something because of people overdoing it.
Probably,
yeah. Those were good times though, because you're out there at night and just it's just a good time. It is pretty cool.
That makes me. We have like glass minnows and stuff down here in Texas. Now I'm kind of curious about like taking a crack at that. Same thing.
See, and the cool thing about the smell, I don't know about glass minnows or any of the others, is when you cook them, the bones were soft to where you just ate the whole thing, like I said, like a French fry. There were no like, ooh, I got a bone in my mouth. You didn't have to worry about stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
and glass minnows aren't going to be as big. Glass minnows are probably going to be about like that.
Right.
2 inches at best. But man, you're making me hungry. I'm gonna have to try it.
Do a video.
Mm-hmm.
Doug says, just back the storm cat into the garage. Okay.
Anything cat.
Yes, anything cat.
I love me a good cat.
All right, so we just talked about everybody's favorite fish to catch. Change gears. And we'll start up here so that people in the chat, because of the delay, will have a chance to respond. What's your favorite fish to eat?
That's a different question.
You've eaten. What's your favorite fish to eat? And again, we'll start with Mr. Steve Ash.
Oh, you started with Stanley last time. No, you didn't either. No, it's okay. It's a toss-up. I like yellow perch, I like crappie, and I like walleye. That's my three. Bluegill too. I don't know. I'll take any of them, and I won't rank one above the other. They're all good.
All right. So a wishy-washy answer. All right, Stanley.
Yeah. It's the most spineless freaking answer I've ever heard in my life.
Stand for one of them. Just stand for
He's just sitting there. He's just naming off fish, which I respect. I like that he just likes fish. That's cool. But all he's doing is just naming off just species. He's not picking anything.
All right, yellow perch. He said that's his. He's standing with that. And
I respect that.
All right.
I've been blessed the last couple of years. I've been able to spend time out on my uncle's boat and growing up on my dad's boat, so like that. Obviously, I've got a John boat that doesn't even have a motor. So, I'm very blessed for the opportunity to spend time out with these guys. And one of the things that I picked up along the way, especially with Uncle Perry, when we're going way, way offshore, is those really deep water species I am really, really loving. Swordfish is one that like you can get it out of HEB. You can buy a swordfish steak. It's just like I can't even describe the difference. And to me, like swordfish is the greatest tasting thing ever. I have a hard time kind of topping. My top three would be like swordfish. Tilefish is actually really good. Same deep water thing, but swordfish number one, and it's so good. I don't cook it. It's the one fish I absolutely refuse to cook. Swordfish. I eat it raw. Period. Bar none. I won't touch it. And my favorite fish are all like that now. After spending time out on that boat, all my favorite fish are all the things that I enjoy, like wahoo and stuff. I just enjoy eating them all raw. I don't even cook them.
Okay, my turn. I like to eat a lot of different fish. You know, I like catfish. I love crappie, yellow perch, walleye, speckled trout, redfish on the half shell on the grill is pretty dang awesome.
Narrow it to one.
Flounder is delicious.
Yeah.
That blue marlin, the way they fixed it, oh, that was awesome. The mahi is very good. But, and this isn't a fish I've caught.
Wow. I like how he names all these fish and there's a but.
Yes. This isn't
Talk about wishy-washy.
Remember, this is the fish that you like to eat, right? And my number one is ahi tuna. And I like
Can't argue with that.
Just seared on each side, raw in the middle, slice it thin, and let me dip it and eat it.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, you know, it's a good fish when your preparation for that is just the most minuscule of things that you do. A little searing on the sides and you're done. That's a good fish.
Yep.
And then you dip it in wasabi sauce.
I do. I bury my stuff in wasabi. I do. I burn my nose out with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's check. We got over here, Jeff Bottom says perch, so he agrees with Steve. Audrey, of course, hit tuna. I think she put it out there before I even said it. And
yeah,
then,
she did.
That's all we got so far. What Kayla?
I know there's other options out there, guys. I know that there's people out there. You're sitting there. This is what's happening. You're sitting there in the chat. I know exactly what's going on here. You're sitting here going, ooh, I like this and this. And then, like, he's throwing out perch, I'll throw out swordfish, and you're throwing out ahi. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, I was going to say flounder. Dude, flounder is a legitimate, redfish. Like, the fish you're thinking of, it warrants mentioning. Go ahead.
Yes. So come on. The rest of you
do
it. What do you like to eat? Tuna. Yeah, tuna is it for me. That's why, for me, one of my big lists. Oh,
salmon. That needed to have been said. That's a good one.
Now, that is one that, in my personal experience, you either love it or hate it. And I'm on the side, I don't necessarily hate it. I am not a fan of salmon at all, except smoked salmon. I will eat some smoked salmon, and it's okay to me, but I don't like saying, oh, we cook it on this cedar plank on the ground. No, it doesn't. Salmon has a very unique flavor, and I think that's why a lot of people either love it or hate it.
We found a way to cook salmon that we like because we're along that same line, but it's that same thing like I do with the Parmesan crusted walleye, only we do it with salmon. It's really good. Fish in the Mitten, Josh made a comment that he likes northern pike, and that's a fish I think a lot of people overlook. It really is a good fish. It's bony. It's hard to get them Y bones out, but man, it's a good tasting fish.
Now, what's funny about that is when I was in Michigan as a teenager, we were spearing pike. I don't know if any of this stuff was legal back then, but of
course it is.
They can do anything about it. It's gone by a long time ago. And everybody was like, okay, pike, you have to soak in milk overnight before you cook it. So we did. Now, it was good, but I don't know why everybody felt like you had to soak it in milk. Usually that's to get the blood out of it or get some kind of taste out of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but what we did eat was good. So
that one I got up in Wisconsin last summer, man. We ate that thing, and everything. I was like, oh, this is the first time I've ever had fresh bluegill and striper and pike and whatever, and I don't even walleye. There's so many fish that I'd never tasted before. I'm trying every single one of them. Like I don't even want it. I want it very lightly cooked because I want to know just how this fish tastes in and of itself.
Yeah,
I thought pike was really good. It stood right up there with everything else.
Oh, there you go. Jeff Bottom says fried fish. He fry it, he'll eat it. Kayla says, good thing I live in Washington. Yeah, she's up in Washington right now. So, yeah, she has access to very fresh salmon, that's for sure. Doug says, I had one of those awful days that every guide has but dreads. I tried to overthink my tactics and got my butt kicked. Ever had one of those days?
Yeah, like once every other fishing trip.
Saturday.
That's
the
all the
difference
time.
is, Doug, you're a guide and we're not. But yeah, we have them same kind of days.
And probably more often because I don't have time on water typically that a guide does. So, yeah. And then Leopold here in San Antonio. I'm local San Antonio. Welcome aboard. I'm glad you jumped in with us. Appreciate it. We're talking
right. Texas represent.
Fish is to eat. Yeah, Texas is in the house. So for those that don't know, I'm in San Antonio. Stanley is in South Texas down near the coast. So he's our coast guy. And then that guy way over there, Steve, is up in Michigan. So, but I got a Michigan connection. Wife born and raised there. We got a house up there. We go there. So it's all cool. And then go ahead, Steve.
And speaking of Michigan, the Wild Game Pursuit just jumped in the channel. He's also from Michigan, named Brad Atwood. I hate the fact that I work until 7 and always miss these. Well, we're glad that you're here when you can get here, Brad.
Absolutely. Glad you made it. Weekend Warriors in the house. How you doing, Weekend Warrior?
Hey, Justin.
All right. So, again, for folks new to the chat, we're talking about what's your favorite fish to eat. So go ahead and y'all new to the chat, start thinking about that. And I got another request from my fellow folks up here in the Outdoors crew. And I'm going to start with Stanley Orchard this time. I'm putting you on the spot, Stanley. So let's get a little local fishing report. Just what you've heard from folks around down there, what's going on, what's being caught, what's not. We know we had the freeze here in Texas, so that affected some things. So what are you hearing? What's our insider report from down there?
I did make it out for a fishing trip last weekend. And like Mr. Wynn was saying, I kind of overthought things. We had some family friends that we were out. I was trying to put them on some fish, and I failed. We traveled all over the Port Aransas area in a very short amount of time trying to get some fish, and I wasn't able to get anything. I was also not able, it was a little bit rough, so I wasn't able to take everybody kind of where I wanted to go. I hit my favorite spots on the inshore, and I didn't get anything, and I wasn't marking much on the bottom either. So, the freeze, my personal sentiments are that, it took out a lot of perch and small trout and some of the smaller stuff. There's bigger fish that you're finding out there too. It didn't just get those guys. But I think the food, the shrimp that a lot of these guys are feeding on have been killed off to the point where some of the bigger guys are maybe spread out a little bit. I was worried it was going to be worse than it is, even though I didn't catch fish. I have friends who are catching fish. We had that no guy trip that we were going to do. My friends ended up headed out for that one 3 weeks ago. They were able to do really good with the reds. I had another couple of friends say that they have done well with redfish and drum. They're still around. They're still kicking. I haven't heard anything about trout. However, some of the guides here in the Corpus Christi area, I've been watching their stuff. That Texas Coast Guide or something like that, whatever that YouTube channel is. They're catching stuff in Portland in shallower water. I think that says a lot. So I'm excited. There are still fish around. It's not as bad as what people thought.
Good to hear. All right. Fishing report in the Michigan area. What you've been hearing and saying. We know you stunk this weekend.
Yeah, I stunk it up. But the thing is, right now, everybody's anticipating the walleye to come up into the Detroit River and start jigging for walleye, and also to come into Lake Erie, Saginaw Bay, that whole waterway through there. The problem has been last weekend, the winds kicked up and it just made pure mud. I mean, you looked at the overhead view of the Saginaw Bay, Detroit River, St. Clair River, right down to Lake Erie. It looked like chocolate milk. So some people were having luck. Most people were not. It's kind of that go and try it because you can't catch them sitting on the couch. So that's where we're at with the walleye. And I think as far as the crappie, it's like Jeff alluded to earlier with the bluegill. They're down there. You're marking them. They're just not. I don't know. It hasn't warmed up enough. Yeah. So you do see some people that are catching bluegill and crappie, but you also see a whole lot of people that, we should have just stayed home. So I think it's a little early to really get what you would call a hot bite right up here yet.
Yeah, I think a lot of people up there in Michigan were just happy to be able to get a boat out on the water. The ice was gone.
Yeah.
So, get out.
That's how I feel.
Before I jump into local, and if I'm saying your name wrong, I apologize. Leopoldo Mencia. So redfish on the half shell over some post oak smoke. Look, redfish on the half shell over any kind of heat source is a winner. And when I catch redfish when I'm at the coast, that's one of those things we'll eat there while we're still at the coast over charcoal, whatever we got on the half shell. That's a great way to eat it. For those who aren't familiar, leave the scales on, leave the skin on, fillet it like you're filleting a half off of it, spice it up how you like it, butter, whatever, scales down. Now, I've seen other people who will put the skin down first for a little bit, but I don't.
Oh, I never thought about doing that.
Yeah. Scales down on the heat and cook it until it's done, and then you can it just comes right off of that skin. So delicious. So that is a winner. All right. So my input, like Steve, I sucked this weekend. I didn't catch a fish. Joel caught bass. We fished Placid, which is a small lake on the Guadalupe River near San Antonio. However, we have been seeing really good reports from Choke Canyon. Crappie are getting tore up. I believe they're spawning, so they're in real shallow. It's a muddy lake, so they'll be within 2 or 3 feet of the shore spawning. A couple years ago, I remember Joel was down there. I wasn't with him, but he's telling me they're casting out trying to catch fish, and then as he's rolling in, he's getting hit. And finally, I realized, hey, throw it 3 feet in front of me, and I'm catching fish. And they wow. And Choke Canyon had a reputation as a really good bass lake. It's gone up and down because the water levels fluctuate in that lake real bad. But right now, the bass fishermen, tournament fishermen, and all that, I'm seeing some really good reports on bass on Choke. But be careful if you go to Choke because there are really, really big gators on Choke. So typically you don't mess with them. They won't mess with you, but just don't mess with them. Canyon Lake, I'm not getting, that's our main lake, like New Braunfels, just north of here. Really nice lake, but I'm not hearing any, it's like dead silence on the fishing up there. So that means one or two things. The fishermen got them dialed in and don't want nobody to know.
Exactly.
Or more likely is they're just not, like Steve says up north, it's kind of in one of those fluxes where you're going from winter fishing to summer fishing. You're in that in-between zone where the fish are spread out looking for food and stuff, and it's just hard to find them. So that is my San Antonio area fishing report for y'all. So what's going on?
I would like, I want to hear updates on that. I want to hear some more information on Canyon Lake because I am really, really intrigued about getting back up that way. That is a gorgeous lake, and I plan on being there very soon.
I will tell you, Canyon Lake.
I know it's hard. I know it's a hard one.
If you get on Texas Fishing Forum or any of that and bring up Canyon Lake, probably the first few comments you're going to get is it's a hard lake to fish, and it is a very hard, deep, cold water lake. Me and Joel stayed up there for like a weekend, I think it was, probably 8 or 9 years ago, and the fishing was so hard. And it's a beautiful lake, clear water, so there's a ton of, if it's in warm out, there's a ton of traffic on the lake, right? Yeah. Jet skiers, everything on that lake. So we swore we would never fish that lake again and would only go there if we were going there to do things like that. And then a few years later, so like 11 years ago, we had some tournaments there, catfish tournaments, which was unique. And we started to learn the lake a little bit and catch some fish. And then probably 6 or 7 years ago, me and Joe kind of figured out crappie there and we started catching, respectable crappie. And we were like, yeah, this is our crappie lake. But I'll be honest, the last, I want to say 2 to 3 years, we have not found crappie or anything on it. I mean, they're there. We've caught bass, we've caught stripers, all this when we're crappie fishing. But it's just, it's a tough lake to fish. It really is. Beautiful lake. If you're gonna fish, and maybe this is wrong now, I might be completely wrong, but my experience has been if you're gonna fish Canyon Lake, fish towards the river mouth, that area.
Is that where that dam is?
That's the opposite.
See, we went to the dam.
Yeah, fish at the end where the river's coming into the lake.
Wild Game Pursuit, Brad makes a comment. Steelhead are starting to run in the rivers by me in West Michigan. Yeah, he's right. My youngest son, Chris, goes steelhead fishing. He went this past Saturday. Didn't catch anything, but I see he was telling me that some of the guys were catching him. Allegan Dam, there was a guy that caught a nice one, nice big steelhead. So, yep, they're coming up. I don't fish for them, but Chris does.
See, that's another
and I see Jerry Toner is finally here. She says she's late. Jerry, you're always late. Glad you're here.
Yeah, that's one thing. When I was in Michigan, again, eons ago, I was a teenager, but you could catch salmon or lake trout, whatever. They would run up the Augrey River right there in Augrey. But that doesn't happen anymore either. So that fishery's changed over the last 30 years or so.
You know, we had I've heard stories, and I've kind of seen things like this, but I've never seen it to this extent. But yeah, where Packery Channel is now on Padre Island, that didn't used to be a channel. Well, it didn't used to be a channel when I was a kid, because they had the Port Aransas channel, and then they dug through the Fish Pass. And I think those were the two main channels in the area. But before they dug those channels, there was the Pass of 1835, which is now Packery Channel. And that was a natural pass, being that it was a natural pass through the island. It wasn't like a deep cut jetty, sided channel. It was kind of a shallow, run, and probably a lot wider. When my grandfather moved here, that's how it was. It was the Pass of 1835 at Packery. So real shallow run. He'd go out fishing at night, and he said that there would be a run like once a year, twice a year, and just an ungodly amount of shrimp crossing the island right there. Like he'd sit there, just you couldn't really predict what day it was going to happen, but yeah, exactly. When it happened, you're sitting there exactly doing the smelting with the net into the bed of the truck, just filling it up. You don't see that sort of thing anymore. They're probably running through the channel, so I'm sure, obviously they're still around and stuff like that, but the ecosystem, it's changed from what it used to be.
You see it in Florida. As a matter of fact, Leonard and Bonnie, Audrey's aunt and uncle, who we stayed with down there, like the weekend before we went down there, they went out on the boat and they used nets and they caught fresh shrimp. And I'm like, I want to do that. But yeah, I haven't seen that happen on the Texas coast very much compared to what I see them doing in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm jealous.
Yeah, so am I. Although we can do shrimp here if you want to do shrimp.
Shrimp is good. Oh man, shrimp is good eating.
You don't get them big Gulf guys. There's a trick to getting those big Gulf guys. You want to get some Gulf shrimp? We can go get some Gulf shrimp. But if you actually want to go out and get some shrimp, like, you can take one of a variety of different kinds of nets and go get them. Copano Bay is the place to go.
So I'm going to call you Leo, if that's all right. So Leo says he's fishing Bronick Lake this weekend using downriggers. So Bronick Lake is one of our power plant lakes. We got Calaveras and Bronick, call them the twin lakes, sister lakes, whatever. And so because of that, their water makeup is such that they stock them with redfish. They can't spawn, but they stock them and they grow. My biggest out there is 36 inches, so that's respectable. And there's the records out of those lakes are much larger than that. But you fish them completely different, it seems like, than you fish them at the coast. They're deep. They're using downriggers and running lures and trolling for them, right?
Really?
So that's what he's talking. He said they killed them, limited out. I think what are the limit on those lakes? If I'm not mistaken, it's 3 fish per person, and they have to be over either 20 or 22 inches. There's no upper limit. It can be as big as you can catch it. But
wow, I didn't know that. What's the record for redfish on those lakes?
Oh man, let me see if I can find it where you guys.
And what prevents you from going to the coast and tagging a 50, 60-inch redfish and then bringing it to Bronick Lake? I want to know for a friend.
Asking for a friend. All right, I'm going to pull up the website. You guys keep the chitter chatter going while I'm researching here.
Wild Game Pursuit says, "Have a good night, fellas. Thanks for swinging by, stopping in. Appreciate it."
Yeah,
Pleasure.
Saltwater Born, howdy, y'all. Howdy, back
What's
to
up,
you.
Saltwater Born?
Hey, what's up, Saltwater Born? Been a minute.
I gotta say, Saltwater Born, I am loving what you're doing. You guys want to get yourselves into some very fine-looking saltwater apparel. You can find their stuff at stores all over the country these days. You can probably head on over to their website. I imagine that's probably saltwaterborn.com. Get yourself into some good-looking gear. And I am not even I'm not even being paid to say that. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it right there.
So here's
Are
the
you
lake
saying-
record for Brawny Lake for the red drum. 41 inch, excuse me, 41 inches, 37 pounds.
Wow.
So now let me go look at Calaveras.
That's intriguing, man. It's probably because they're not there long enough to get much bigger than that. That's a typical bull.
It's kind of, yeah, exactly. It's kind of a put and take setup. You know, they want you to catch and keep those fish. They don't want you releasing them.
Why can't they stock mahi?
Look, don't get me started on the crazy stockings they've done. Okay, so Calaveras, 41 pounds again, 30 inches. But a 30-inch, 41-pound red, that's a thick red. He's only 30.
That is a thick red.
Yeah.
What is he eating?
Right? Exactly. Well,
Anything he wants to.
Tons
I mean,
of,
that's rats, man. He's eating possums.
yeah, right. We have tons of shad, tons of tilapia, and tons of bluegill in those lakes. So, fish stockings. Let's talk about this. So this is Calaveras because they did some crazy stuff. Matter of fact, back in the 70s, Calaveras was the #1 bass lake in Texas, right? But they started doing some crazy stuff. Let me find these crazy stockings they did.
Did I hear you right that they're big on tilapia?
Yeah, they have a lot of tilapia in there.
I went in on that.
Corvina. You know what a corvina is, right?
No, don't.
It's like a speckled trout, but much bigger and ferocious. So they stocked orange-mouth corvina in that lake. That was way back in the, let me see.
I've never heard of that. A corvina?
Look it up. They're out in the saltwater. They're saltwater fish.
Yeah, I want to see that. I've never even heard of I think I've heard that name before, but
Then they stocked a cross between a spotted trout and a corvina. Okay. So it gets better. That's Calaveras. Let's go back to Brawny real quick. And listen to this crazy stuff the Texas Parks and Wildlife put in this lake.
I want to be in on this board. The people making this decision.
Why is my mouse acting crazy? Okay.
If this is a voted in position, like if this has to be an elected official, I'm telling everybody in the chat right now, you need to go ahead, elect me into this. We're going to be getting ourselves, I'm going to be stocking swordfish. I'm going to be stocking.
They're saying the reason when they stocked all that and the redfish, that's what took out the bass population. But the orange-mouth corvina was
Shocker.
stocked in Brawny. And Brawny is the smaller of the two lakes. And in 84 and in 85, they stocked not only spotted sea trout, so speckled trout, but tarpon.
Wow.
Tarpon. Could you imagine being on a little freshwater lake and catch a tarpon?
Is it brackish or I don't understand this. I don't understand why.
They just say that the mineral makeup is such that it supports the saltwater fish and it stays warm to hot. You know what I mean? It never gets cold like the rest of our lakes.
That's so weird. Yeah, Leopoldo's saying the same thing. He's saying they were doing tarpon. That blows my mind. It makes me wonder, like, what are these people thinking? I don't even know what to say, you know?
It was like mad scientists. They're like, what else put in? Hey, let's put some tarpon in there.
No sheep's head?
Right?
Oh.
Crazy.
No flounder? I want to get my Texas Slam on the lake.
Flounder would be cool. I wish they would stock them in there.
You'd think they'd be a less competitive species. You know, they'd be eating different things.
Yeah, because there's crayfish in there and all that. But yeah, the people who fish for reds typically are either trolling with downriggers or something, or they're fishing with shrimp. And
Yeah.
And not
Yeah,
only
that's what I've been doing.
the catfish will eat shrimp too. So crazy. All right.
You got me drooling for a naturally crawfish stuffed flounder now.
Oh, that sounds really
Doesn't it though?
I like that. That sounds good. That sounds good. All right. Now it's last 15 minutes of the show. It's story time. Whatever you got to talk about, whatever you want to bring up. I know it's kind of, we like to talk. We talk a lot about fishing. We like to be all outdoors. So hunting's involved, but right now, time of year, it's not a lot of hunting going on. I will say that we did something real fun. We did it last weekend, but we did it this weekend too. Audrey's up in Michigan with our oldest daughter, Kayla. Ashley's
Not Michigan, John, Washington.
I'm sorry, Washington. My bad. And good call, Steve. And then Ashley, our youngest daughter, is here in San Antonio on the other side of town. And so we all got on Messenger where we video chat type thing, and we had a recipe, and we all cooked together. So this week it was jambalaya. And I will tell you what, that was some bad arse jambalaya. It turned out real good. But it was cool to be able to, the three of us, four of us actually, all kind of hang out and cook together. I did it the week before with Audrey and Kayla up in Washington. And then Ashley saw that and she was like, hey, what about me? I didn't think she did, but she was. So it was really cool. So that's one of the things. If you got family that's spread out, or a cousin or somebody you haven't talked to in a while, or somebody you want to hang out with, and what are we going to talk about? Hey, send them a recipe and say, on such and such day, at this time, let's get on here, video chat, however you can do it, and cook this together. It turned out pretty cool. Cool deal. How is the red fishing in Louisiana? God dang, Jerry. Who's she asking? I'll defer to Stanley because I got it's from my understanding is based on what you hear from folks from Louisiana, it's good.
It's good.
Put it on a cracker, dude. It's good.
It's good. I can't even do that accent, but you got to imagine it with that Louisiana drawl.
Put it on a cracker, dude. It's good.
And anywhere that you get that brackish water, that the grass bed flats, anything like that, the redfish are running all up and down the coast. They like to come into the bays and shallows and estuaries and things like that to go in there and get themselves a good meal. From Florida to Mexico, they're going to be good. I don't know how far south they go.
Smaller.
Jerry, you got a couple of connections down in Louisiana, a couple of guys that are on your pro staff. One's on your pro staff and one should be. The one that should be is all the way down to the coast, and you could, as many pictures as he shows of the big crappie that he catches, you need to get a hold of him and see if you could go down and catch redfish with him.
Heck yeah. And get him to come to the show and give us some updates from Louisiana, because really, that would be nice.
That would be a nice locale. That's a really good one. I know we got a lot of saltwater representation here, but
yeah,
I'm curious. I want to know, the upper Gulf Coast. I want to know a little bit more information about what's going on there, because if I'm traveling anywhere, that's where I'm going.
Absolutely.
I know we've talked about, on many occasions, we've all talked about having a correspondent person in like California.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or is that so freaking difficult to find? Like, what is the deal with not finding anyone in California?
We talked about that too, finding somebody on the East Coast, somebody on the West Coast that could join in with our chat and give us a perspective in different areas.
Florida's not hard. We can usually Wayne shows up. He's down in Florida, so we get some Florida input.
Yep.
But yeah, the West Coast, Oregon, California, Washington, we get zero. And to be honest with you, on YouTube, there's probably two people, two channels I follow out of California, and I don't know of a channel out of Oregon or Washington State that I follow. They're just not. I don't know.
I've seen them. And I've seen some really good content too, because it's such a different experience going over there. You know, like not being allowed to drive on the beach, the species that you're catching, the climate of the environment, the kelp forests. You know, there's so much different things happening over there. I was told that the whole thing again, they just don't have as many fishing channels, and a big part of that is because the people in California, they could be wrong, I don't know, but what I was told is that the people in California are a little bit more like the viewing clientele in the area they're not wanting to see you killing something, at least more so than what you would find in, I guess, the rest of the nation or something. I don't know if that's correct, but that's what I was told.
I wouldn't argue with that.
Up here in Michigan, we love to kill something.
I'll just kill something if I get to eat it.
I mean, I'm in Texas, so you know where we stand on killing things.
Yeah.
Yes, Jerry, Dwayne DeBard, that's the guy. Get a hold of him, and he could take you out and get redfish. I know he does some other stuff down there. I know they do shrimping, and I know they do crabbing.
Oh, no. If you're no. Are we talking about Louisiana?
Yeah.
Yellowfin.
That's my thing. That's the closest run to get to the yellowfin is out of Venice, Louisiana. That is a trip. But every time I'm like, we're going to do it. And I look it up, the cost to do that trip.
Yeah, I agree.
You're looking at typically $1,500 minimum for the boat plus gas. And gas is anywhere from 200 to 300 gallons a trip. So now you start doing the math, and you've got to, and it's a 4 to 6 person boat. So you got to have 4 to 6 people committed to spending. That's not including the lodging. You're probably spending close to $2,000 per person for one of those type of trips. 4 to 6 people.
I think I was quoted 1,900 included lodging, but 1,900 a person. And I know, and I think that's a steal of a deal right there. But and I will add into that, on top of that, not only is it very expensive, you also run into the problem of, like, you are going to be out on a boat in not blue water fishing for these things. Like, it's not going to be like the prettiest of conditions. When we get to go out and catch these kinds of things, like if we're down in Texas or if you're in Florida, you get this gorgeous blue water, crystal clear. You can see all this stuff is tropical looking. You go to Louisiana and you do this, and you're doing it in like green water. It's a different, I know that's a weird thing to say, but it's kind of a different atmosphere being in muddy water fishing for tuna.
But man, the tuna I've seen them catching yellowfin.
Yeah.
You know, you go to Florida, they're talking about blackfin, and which I'm sure are fine, but they're little.
Little footballs.
Yeah, them yellowfin tuna they're pulling out. Oh my gosh. I don't know, Bailey. I forgot the rest of her name. Bailey. She's fished with Blue Gabe. That's Jeremy for Dinner's brother, and so she was on there. She's got a big YouTube channel, and she's now working kind of like a first mate on one of the charters down there in Venice, going out tuna fishing. I'm like, and so I saw a picture of Instagram or Facebook, one or the other, and she's got this tuna. She's holding the tail at her face, and then she's standing up, and it's laying out, and its nose is on the ground a good couple feet ahead of her, and it's wider than she is. And I'm like, God, let me catch one of them. Talk about some ahi tuna.
Yeah, no kidding.
Man, for sure. Yeah, I love to eat tuna, so man, let me catch some tuna. Or
you could just go to Louisiana and get redfish. You know, you see how that, it's like if you're going to be in Louisiana.
And again, keeper size is only 15 inches there, where here you got to have at least, 20 inch. So
it's 15 on reds over there. Is that right?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
And they got good trout and flounder also. If you're doing that. It is crazy. All right, where we at, gentlemen?
I seen this cool thing, and I put it on my Facebook post or page. This guy took just a lure, and he put like a craft, like go to craft store and get the sparkly paint, and he painted that on there, to make it look more like fish scales, because the glitter would make it look like fish scales.
Okay, yeah.
I'm thinking, I got some old lures that I ought to go try that with. Wouldn't hurt anything.
Do it. That's a video.
I agree. I'd like to see you catch something with that.
He already did the
no,
video.
You got to do it better.
But
you got to do it better.
We'll watch yours.
Oh, Doug Wynn. The guy took on one of my guide trips, was selected for one of the covers of the new offshore release paper. The offshore release should be on display at stores all over your area.
Very cool. We'll look for it.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah, I'll watch for it. That's we'll put it out there right now. The four of us, because usually we have a fourth person up here, have discussed having a last, like right about now, end of show kind of. People send us pictures, their catch, what they've been doing, and we kind of go through those pictures with them at the end of the show. We have to set it up. We got to come up with an idea. Hey, are we going to have one email account that they all go to, and we share? One person on the panel gets them, and they're responsible to do those each week. So that's something we're looking at doing to add to the show. So you guys let us know. We got about 5 minutes. Let us know. Is that a good idea? You guys would send us pics. Maybe we'll see how it goes. Maybe short video clips of catches, and we'll just share it here so folks can see what we're doing out there.
I like that idea personally. I like either, something like this where we check out a social media account or something like that, or I don't know. Like I don't. We've talked about this with like merchandise and stuff like that. I don't like the idea of warehousing photographs and stuff, but I do like the idea of having that stuff on here. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, understood. Yeah, it's like show it, and then we're going to have to delete it the next day just so it's not filling up our hard drive.
Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you guys. I don't understand how to do that.
Well,
I don't know how we'd do it either. We'd have to figure it out.
You won't be in charge of it.
You know what I would do? Press the wrong button and
no.
Gone.
Come on, just print them out.
Did we have an audio glitch from Steve?
That's right. We've had good audio all night.
An audio glitch today.
Why is that?
That's a win.
I don't know. Are you not on the laptop? Are you on the laptop?
Same as I always am.
Wow.
The only thing that I'm not doing is I'm not on my phone adding to the chat on the sidebar. If you notice,
it might be a Wi-Fi issue.
Bandwidth thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've not commented a single thing on the chat, and maybe that's the problem, or maybe that's the cure for me not to have the audio problems.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, at least we got that. Yeah, we made it through a whole show, I think.
So far.
Glitching on us. Yeah, I knocked on wood already, so we should be good. All right, what else y'all got going out there? Anybody got any of you are YouTubers that got a video you released recently? Stan?
What's everybody got something coming up?
Yeah, what do you got, Stanley? You got anything coming up soon?
I do. I've got a video that's going to be coming out tomorrow. I'm not going to lie. I don't remember what the video is. I don't have that many left in the tank right now because I haven't been able to do a fishing trip, a good fishing trip in a while. But I know I got one coming out tomorrow. It's going to be some. You know what it is? I went after skipjack, and an incident occurred while we were going after skipjack. That's what it was. So I had some fun with that. It's going to be a fun little video. And then we're going to be ending our season here pretty soon. We got one other fun video coming out after that.
So everybody's in
the
description below, right? So if you're not subscribed to Stanley or Steve or even Grant, they're all down below. All right, what you got anything coming there, Mr. Ash?
Yeah, I'm waiting for Jerry Toner to send me a picture for a thumbnail of my video called Humble Beginnings, which is the Case Plastics, how they started along with Erie Advantage Custom Tackle. But I'm not putting it out until I get a thumbnail from Jerry Toner.
Calling or he called you out? Called you out.
And maybe the next video I should do is how I fix my doggone trailer now, the boat vents.
That is one.
Yeah, it is.
Tomorrow I probably got a video coming out. It is a vlog. I think it's my third or fourth of the year. Not only, and it's not, I don't know, I'm not going to say it's a good one, but it's a vlog talking about the cost of fishing. And it's my first,
that's actually a fun one. I like that idea.
It's my first podcast. So it's out there
Nice.
on all the places where you can find a podcast. So it's something I'm looking at doing for the future. Is if you're watching it on YouTube, it's a vlog, but you can also listen to it on those Spotify and those other locations where you can listen to a podcast. And that the podcast is out there. It's been out there for a week already, and I have not told anybody or advertised it at all. It's just out there floating in space. So that's what. Look at Jerry. She's got Z's going. Did she fall asleep on Steve or me?
She's been asleep. She forgot to send the picture to me from a week ago.
All right, and that's what I got going on. I was hoping to have a fishing video coming out, but since I stunk and didn't catch any fish, that ain't happening.
I'm right there with you.
Yep, same here.
It's 6 o'clock. You don't have to go home, but you got to get out of here. We appreciate you all, and that is the end of the show. Thanks everyone for coming. Appreciate you.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a great week, guys.